Okay, Christina here to listen to some music. And today's music selection is The Greatest Show on Earth by Nightwish. This will be the third Nightwish reaction here on the channel. The first two were to Ghost Love Score and then Storytime. This one I've heard a lot about. I actually don't know what it's about specifically. I just have heard a lot about this piece and that it's a big bite. And now I see it's like 20 minutes long. Are we going to be able to get through all of this awesomeness? 20 minutes worth of it? We can do this together. And so what else are we doing here together? I am a professional, classically trained musician, instrumentalist, vocalist, composer, and professor. So we dive into all the details about this music, how it's composed, the instrumentation, some form and analysis, maybe do some instrument demos, but also how do we relate to this music? Why do we like it, or why do we not like it? So I've been excited about this one for a while now, and I'm very happy to get to it. So let's not delay any longer. Let's listen. Okay, I think we're ready. And I also have noticed that it is divided into 5 sections. So I don't know if it's a medley or what's going on here, but we'll figure it out. Okay, here we go. All right. This is already really exciting. Beautiful intro. I love the background. The little starry kind of universe background. Well, it was really dreamy, and something happened in the music already, a trick that I love, where instruments are combined to the point where you can't tell what you're hearing. You can't tell where one stops and the other starts. And so I was hearing strings. There was a lovely piano line in there, but I started hearing some strings kind of in the background, like sneaking in. And then I thought for sure it was just a cello sound being brought forward, but then I saw it was that instrument solo, the guitar solo. At a few moments in the guitar solo, it sounded almost like it was being bowed, like it was an electric bowed instrument. But I love the blending of instruments like that. So that was mesmerizing. I was really taken by that, the guitar solo. It almost felt like it was more improv, like the long drawn out lines like you would hear with a Pink Floyd guitar solo. But soon enough, I realized it was really still following the melodic line, because then you would hear the instruments in the background following it. And I guess you could say that happens with other music. like Pink Floyd. But there was just something about it that to me it seemed like it wandered, but then right as you felt like you were floating, you kind of realized you were tethered to something. I was sort of brought back to reality. Then I heard the other strings. So I heard some little cluster chords, which just means the notes are really, really close together, like this. They're just really, really close. And sort of a swell, like a crescendo and then a decrescendo. But then we had the drum beat that came in, and it was being powered by the string section. Love that. With then the big interjections with the brass and woodwinds. You heard some of the piccolo things, and I didn't hear too much yet playing with actual time signatures, like changing the time signatures, like going from 4 beats in a measure to 3 beats. I could be wrong, but I didn't detect as much of that blatantly as I did with the previous 2 reactions, Ghost Love Score and Story Time. But the interjections were on off beats and a little syncopated and, taking you by surprise. And so that sort of made it seem like the time signatures were fluctuating. All right, it's been all instrumental so far, so I still have no idea what's going on, but it's pretty great. Let's keep going.
After sleeping through 100 million centuries, we have finally opened our eyes on a sumptuous planet, sparkling with color, bountiful with life. Within decades, we must close our eyes again. Isn't it a noble and enlightened way of spending our brief time in the sun? To work at understanding the universe and how we have come to wake up in it.
Okay. Well, all right. So it sort of turned into a documentary. Well, that's cool. I love nerdy scientific documentaries. I was seeing like snail shells and equations and stuff in the background. Okay, well, we'll get to that in a moment. Okay, the moment when she started singing. At first I heard some choir voices in the background, but I was like, oh, I hear her. And then they just showed her with her hair blowing in the wind. That was awesome. Like complete goosebumps right there. When she first started singing, it wasn't so much the angel. It was a little bit deeper than that. Instead of a child, it was more like a mother. Something older and wiser. Something more mature. Something with a really deep well of emotion. And you could really hear the resonance in her singing, especially in the first couple of words that she sang. I remember the word horizon, just to get the mouth shape just right, to get that sound is pretty amazing. Takes a lot of training. I wasn't remembering her voice being that spacious. I remembered it being more floaty, and then she has the power, the chest voice. But that was maybe the first time we heard the opera voice in her that was more lyrical. Okay, then things changed and we got into the documentary. I was thinking, okay, Richard Attenborough? Okay. Oh, I'm just seeing, Richard Dawkins. Right. Okay. Scientist, right? Yeah. All right, we're getting there. I'm catching on. All right. Okay, and the next section is called Life. All right, we're building the story. This is making sense here. Okay. Ooh, is there going to be more documentary? I kind of hope so. All right, let's go. This is an exciting life here. Wow.
The cosmic law of gravity pulled the real force around the fire. Careless coals, infinity in every vast direction. Lonely Pharaoh in the Goldilocks zone, she has exhaled to sail. From the stellar nursery into a carbon feast. Enter Luca, the tapestry of chemistry. There's a writing in the garden, leading us to the mother of all. We are one, we are universe. Focus what will be, science of the legal, you see. Chaos flash right in the tide of our soul. Day to day, new opening for the greatest show on earth. Violet shadows welcoming the outside world to the stuff of stars.
All right. I kind of really love her with the speak singing there. It's not really Sprechstimme, which is like a way of speaking and not really singing, but it sounds more like da 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 da, and it was a whole movement. in the early 1900s. It's not quite like that, but it's not really growly either. I'm sure it's a filter on the mic, but it's super cool. I love it. Definitely a taste of something new from her and from them. Okay, we got to hear that belting chest voice, and everybody is just more present on stage. The lights are up, the beats are faster, and I'm seeing right here, actually, the subtitles are paused on the words "to the stuff of stars." I literally thought star stuff. I love that term, that we're all made of star stuff. And that's what I thought of with the opening design in the background on stage. So I guess I wasn't too far off. Okay, so I also sort of had a realization, and I apologize for this. People give me a lot of information, like not just in comments, but on Patreon or in direct messages. And so I've been hearing about this piece for several months now. It's been a hot second since the last time we did a Nightwish reaction on the channel. It's so totally time now, right? Yes, okay. And now it's just been long enough that I had forgotten. That I think this is scientific. Like maybe even about evolution, just the dawn of life, the progression of life, and that we are one, and we're all made of the same star stuff. That's some Carl Sagan there. Speaking of scientists. So this whole concept is really cool. I really like it a lot. Okay, I also love the bagpipe. I forgot to mention it from the previous section. I love that instrument. It's not like the full-on Scottish bagpipes. It's the one, sackbut. No, I don't know what it's called. And you put it under your arm. And I don't know what it is about that instrument, but I really love the use of it in music. And so I thought I heard it. I was very excited. And then they showed the person playing it right there live, and I was very excited. Okay. There's a lot to take in here. All right, but we're going to do this. We're going to keep going. Here we go.
Getting the tree of a biological hope. Answer. My good tapestry of chemistry. There's a writing in the guiding, leading us to the mother of all. We are one, we are universe. Progress of what will be, science of navigation. Chaos pass, riding the tide of our soul. A day-to-day new opening for the greatest show on earth. We are here to care for the garden, the wonder of earth, of every form most beautiful. Every form most beautiful. Are one, we are a universe. Forebears of what will be, science of the Devonian sea. Hey, your stars, riding the tide of our soul. A day-to-day new opening for the greatest show on earth.
see her? Do you see her command the stage? And she's just, she's really something. And she's so dedicated to her craft. She just really, I know I've said this in the previous reactions, but she just really loves every second that she is on stage. And she could just play the part so well. I love the hair. That's what I got excited about. She's doing the hair twirly thing again. Really cool. There's just so much going on here. And it just changed again, and we're not quite to the next section, so it might be a long transition in here. The division between the sections, the last one was pretty obvious and abrupt, so not sure what's going to happen with this one, but I kind of like being on the edge of my seat here. Okay, so we had the drums coming out. I love that. I love that drum beat that came out there. And then similarly, the little keyboard moment, he's awesome. And that's Thomas, right? Thomas, and his awesome decorated keyboard with all those weird pipes and stuff. It's really cool. Actually, some of that keyboard stuff that he was doing reminded me of the dum ba 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 bum ba 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 bum from Ghost Love score. So I'm starting to catch on to some of the fingerprints for this band. Okay, so let's continue on. Let's see what's happening with this transition. We got a ways to go. We're only about halfway done, folks. Here we go. at a little bit of a lull. Oh, I'm seeing some stars there, galaxy stuff. Okay. All right. Woof. I actually do have a pencil and a piece of paper. Normally, I don't write stuff down because it actually distracts me a little bit. But this is just so lengthy that I went ahead and just brought a piece of paper in case I needed to jot down some notes. And so I did write just a couple of things that stood out to me, and we'll see afterwards if we can go back and touch on a couple of the high points of the piece. But in general, what I'm noticing is the transition. It calmed a little bit, but then it brought us into this third movement here, which is kind of, it has a similar energy to the second movement, but we sort of had a growling interlude. That was interesting. Don't think I've ever heard animalistic growling, actual animal noises, worked into sort of a symphonic beat with a band on stage before. That's a first for me. And honestly, it was actually really cool. Then there was actually a classical music moment that was kind of intertwined in there. It used a technique from the early 20th century called the 12-tone system. And that actually kind of overlaps with the Sprechstimme that I was talking about, where you sort of speak, sing. And what it does is it basically ends up mathematically putting notes together. And so it sounds kind of like dee 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 dee. And it often will have like one vocalist, like a soprano, that just suddenly da 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 da, some kind of little unusual line there. So I'm wondering if they were actually tapping into that. And if so, that's really cool, because it is like treating something that would normally be beautiful by nature into more by the numbers. And they actually use a graph and they plot all of the 12 half steps in an octave, and it's crazy. And it sounds a little crazy when you listen to it. But that reminded me, I wasn't used to like all the animal sounds with it though. That was in there right near, I think so. Okay. Again, there's a lot to take in. Saw a new singer here too, but we're getting to know him. All right, so let's continue. Again, we were at a lull. Where are we headed next? All right. Was that supposed to be like the doomsday clock? Running out of time? Interesting. Okay. Yeah, we were here. Wow. Okay. So obviously this one is about sort of the impact of humans on the planet. I get it. Saw the imagery there. I didn't catch those lyrics the first time I saw them in the last section before I paused the last time. That happens to me. I get so involved with the music that sometimes the lyrics don't pop out to me, even if they're there in subtitles. But they repeated that refrain again and again, and so I caught on now. How about, we took the time in the sun and wrote poetry, but it's the last light in the library. Love it. Okay. And again, I love the driving beat of this one. It really brings a taste of seriousness to it, but also maybe a little regret, maybe a bit of longing, like what could we have done? What can we do? And so now we are really at a moment to take a breath, because this is the end of this section. The next one is called The Understanding, apparently. So I'm curious as to what this message is going to be. What do we get to understand? Okay, here we go.
Include greater poets than Keats, scientists greater than Newton. We know this because the set of possible people allowed by our DNA so massively exceeds the set of actual people. In the teeth of these stupefying odds, it is you and I, in our ordinariness, that are here. We privileged few who won the lottery of birth against all odds. How dare we whine at our inevitable return to that prior state from which the vast majority have never stirred?
Okay. That was unusual. So it was just all the recorded instrumental part. And it was beautiful. I loved it. I love the hopefulness in the writing. Da-dum, bum, bum. That little moment right there was really beautiful. And so, if I remember correctly, they use pretty high-level orchestras, like London Phil level orchestras, to do the recordings. And it certainly sounds like that. But how the band is sort of like the lights are up and they're walking around and they're appreciating the audience and appreciating each other. That was the longest bow I've ever seen. I've always been taught, like since I was a little kid, down 2, 3, 4, up 2, 3, 4. Okay. So that was an unusual moment, kind of a beautiful moment. The words by which it was really cool to see the audience member who had every word of the documentary part memorized, loved that. But the message from it was to basically appreciate what we have. I really love that message, and I feel like that's what they did on stage. I guess what else could they do during this instrumental part? That just completely makes sense. Okay, so we have our moment of understanding. I understand the understanding. Let's move on. So the last movement, Sea-Worn Driftwood. Okay.
Thus, from the war of nature, from famine and death, the most exalted object which we are capable of conceiving, namely the production of the higher animals, directly follows. There is grandeur in this view of life, with its several powers originally breathed into a few forms or into one. And that whilst this planet has gone cycling on according to the fixed law of gravity, from so simple a beginning, endless forms most beautiful and most wonderful have been and are being evolved.
Okay. Well, that was really cool that he actually came out on stage. Did everybody know that was going to happen? I feel like the band, they were like, hee hee hee, just wait, everybody, just wait. And then he walks out and delivers that little part at the end. There were tears in the audience. So that is one thing that I really continue to learn, is the depth of appreciation and understanding for this band by the fans. That Nightwish army, y'all. And you really can see it in the audience's face. It's really moving. It's just as moving as the music is. So the music there at the end was lovely. It was very wispy and dreamy and ponderous and ever evolving. So how appropriate. So I really wasn't expecting things to kind of like really wind down in those last two movements. The band really wasn't doing much music-wise there, but they still somehow owned it. So perhaps that was the finale of the show, maybe, like the very, very end of this entire show. That's a great ending. Maybe the end of a tour, though? I mean, it just seemed like an extra big goodbye for some reason, but maybe they just treat all of their devoted fans the same way each time. Okay, let's go back to just a couple of spots. So first of all, in the first movement, 4.6, I'm just now getting that. I was like, what does that mean? Okay, I think it's in reference to billion years, as in how old the Earth is. And that makes sense. Okay, so to me, this opening was so impressionable because it harbored their sound, but at the same time, there was just a slightly new spin to it that I had not heard before. It was very magical. So let's just hear it again. I loved this guitar solo. And the piano solo. And see, there's the star stuff. But it could be in the ocean stuff. Yeah, that's beautiful. Okay, so this is where I hear basses. But it's the guitar. It sounds like a bowed instrument. But then I think the actual strings come in later. And there's something in how the notes change from one to the next that it sounds like a bow changing on the strings. Really cool. Okay, here are the cluster chords. Yeah. Love it. He's really singing on this instrument. I love it. And that little bit of distortion. Ooh, and that slide up there. Yeah, that's good. Beautiful. Okay, and so we eventually get into this heavier beat with the strings. Let's see if we can go forward and hear a little bit of that. So it almost sounds like the time signature is changing, but it's not. It's just a more syncopated beat rhythm within a 4/4 bar. 1, 2, 3, 4, but bum, 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 bum. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 1, 2. Okay, so here's the beat with the strings. Yeah. Okay, and I love that little spot right there. The slide. We gotta go back and hear that again. So I said the beat with the strings, but the strings had it before, but then the brass comes in with the percussion. Boom, boom, and it's like really, really treble, like hitting the timpani as hard as you can. Okay, but let's hear that little slide. That was really cool. Okay. Nice. That's always fun to do. So I'm going to demonstrate. So that sliding is just that. But the beat that the strings had, you hold it down here. This is the frog of the bow, and it's more of a vertical motion rather than horizontal, and you're actually grabbing the string and it really pulls on it and creates almost a percussive sound with just the bow and the strings. And it can really create a solid beat within the string section, the whole string orchestra. So I was hearing a lot of that in this movement. Really cool. And again, that little cluster tone thing, you just sort of pick a note and you just make it loud and then make it soft. Okay, I actually just bumped the table and bumped the camera a little bit, so okay. If it's in a different position, I apologize. I think it's all right. Okay. Whew. So, movement 1 was really beautiful. Movement 2, that started out with a bang. Let's see it again.
Rise again.
Oh,
Isn't it a noble
and there's the bagpipe
way of
instrument.
spending our
Oh, I
brief time in
love
the
it.
sun? To work at understanding.
I want to learn how to play this instrument. I love
I've
it.
come to wake up in it.
Okay, that's a good time. I actually do want to move on to the next movement because I wanted to discuss again and just give you an example of the 12-tone part that I was talking about. So examples of composers that dabble in the 12-tone system: Webern, Schoenberg, and Berg are three, for instance. And so when I hear that type of music, I immediately think like, oh yeah, Schoenberg, okay. All right, let's just go and try to find it. And first we have the animal growling. I love it. It's not really the growling singing, you know, it's like actual animal sounds. Woo! Got the twirling there. Fire and brimstone here. It's an appropriate time for a hair twirl. Very ominous. Ooh, I see the fire. And there's the new singer. So I don't know the singer yet, but he was lovely. I like his twisted beard. So yeah, fire and brimstone. And actually, I have experienced the flame, the pyrotechnics on a stage before. It's really hot. That sounds like a really stupid statement, but I'm serious. Like, I was in the back of the stage, of this huge stage, and they had those pyrotechnic things going off, and they warned us. They were like, when it goes off, don't be alarmed, it's rather warm. And we're like, oh, okay. At the very back of the stage, I was like, oh, it's almost too much. I can't imagine what they feel in the front of the stage. They ain't fooling around with that stuff, but it makes for a good show. Anyway, let's see if we can get to the part that I'm talking about. Is it coming up? I think it was. Okay, no, I'm not finding it in the third movement. I think it was in the second movement. Oh no, okay. Let me see. Okay. I think it's here. Okay, it was right before the third movement, and it brought us into the animal calls. Okay, I'm telling you, a lot of stuff jam-packed into this 20 minutes here. Okay, here's the 12-tone moment I was talking about. There. You hear the violins up there? Yeah. Except with the 12-tone, the violins would not have echoed what she had just done because that's against the rules. You can only use one of the 12 tones and then you have to be done for each line. That's so cool. And let's also take just a moment for her voice. That's the angelic voice of hers, which is funny that it's being used in this ominous fire and brimstone moment here. Let's just hear it again. Gotta pay homage to this lady. Nice little seventh there. Yeah, do you hear the tritone there? This is so 12-tone. Ooh, weird little pizzicato and everything. Okay, and then we got the growling again. All right, that's really exciting. So maybe one last example here of, to sort of leave us with a less ominous feeling. Let's go to one of the more beautiful moments. I mean, this is beautiful too, but you know what I mean. How about towards the understanding?
Most people
I love how it's slowed down.
Because they're never going to be born. The potential people who could have been here in my
Here's the
place,
understanding.
but who will in fact never see the light of day, outnumber the sand grains of Sahara.
That's neat.
Certainly those unborn ghosts include greater poets than Keats, scientists greater than Newton. We know this
There.
because the
She
set
knows
of
every word.
possible people allowed by our DNA so massively exceeds the set of actual people. In the teeth of these stupefying odds, it is you and I.
And here they come.
in our
Take their
ordinary
final bow.
state.
Okay, it's really beautiful. This, it's a good show. It's a great show. Okay. That was The Greatest Show on Earth by Nightwish, and it was indeed pretty great. So it's not just the greatest show on stage, but it's the greatest show on the earth. I love that double meaning. So I had forgotten that this was about science and evolution. So getting into this, I didn't know what to expect, but I was sort of blindly going through it, and I think I still kind of got there before I remembered what this was about. It took some twists and turns, though. I didn't understand what the 4.6 was, and then I was like, why is there a documentary happening? What's going on? Not that I minded. Like I said, I like a good documentary now and then, but this was really a grand display of knowledge and understanding. And I think it was pretty brave to attempt to put it in a work like this. A 20-minute long work. Well, I certainly enjoyed this. So thank you for coming along with me. This was a long journey, but well worth our time. So for everyone who recommended this, thank you. And thank you to the Nightwish Army for being here and supporting my journey with Nightwish. It has definitely been a great show so far. And so will this go on my playlist? Well, this is the live version. I could bring this up and play this, and I wouldn't always watch it, just have it in the background. But if there is a good studio audio version, I'd be interested in that, and I would play that. And maybe I would even get to the point where I would have the documentary part memorized as well. That's kind of the fun of it. So yes, this is definitely going on my playlist in whatever form I can get my hands on here. Okay, and so let me know what other songs by Nightwish I should do as a reaction here on the channel. And don't forget to do all the things, like and subscribe, Patreon, become a channel member. And as always, just remember that you don't have to be perfect. Find the understanding and just be okay. And keep listening.